The Last of Us 2, a Game of the Year recipient with surprisingly mixed reviews. It's a game that infected people with even more hatred for golf, but many more with love for bold storytelling choices.
First off, I want to make clear that I'm not going to cover every aspect of the game that is commonly covered, but we'll make quick comments on it now. As you can see from the footage, the graphics look great, which is expected for a AAA game, and the controls are as smooth as the animation looks. Well, sometimes. Full disclosure, this footage was retrieved from my highly coveted PS5. The difficulty in The Last of Us 2 is proportional to the settings you implement, like any game. On one side of the spectrum you have easy, on the other side you have grounded. One coddles, the other castrates. In my opinion, the only parts of the game I found difficult, on average difficulties like hard or normal, were the boss fights and a few enemy-filled areas of the game. Outside of the game's difficulty, I had problems with accounting for bullet drop, and oddly enough, navigating. The gameplay consists mainly of devouring supplements, scavenging, catching a few bodies, and playing guitar anti-hero. Of the many ways to approach enemy territory, stealth is by far my favorite, due to the creative use of the weapons and environment. I think the only item the game was really missing was a cardboard box.
Nice.
As most of you are aware, Ellie and Abby rely mainly on their senses, projectiles, and environment to sneak around enemies and non-consensually body them. There are advantages to using stealth, like having a surplus of supplies and props for being amongst the very few that completed the pacifist run. For those of you who love confrontation, don't worry, you're in luck, because you can go from zero to manhunt real quick, with a plethora of heaters, one of which is an actual heater. You can craft different items and upgrade your weapons so that you'll have absolutely no problem clapping clickers, muzzling wolves, and scarring seraphites. There's CQC for Metal Gear fans, and a dodge mechanism that lets you go Ultra Instinct Ellie for DBZ fans. As in the previous game, I couldn't tell how well an enemy could see and occasionally got spotted. Although the audio cues, Ellie and Abby's individual arsenals, and heightened senses did help even the odds. In short, the gameplay is basically the same as the original, just more refined. So refined in fact, that most players hold the control while sticking out at least one pinky. Unlike the previous game, you can go prone, and your environment plays a more crucial role in your ability to hide from humans and the infected. Fighting the infected hasn't really changed either. Human enemies, on the other hand, have gotten a lot smarter, often signaling their allies when the player is spotted, or begging to be spared,
Please, don't!
to lull the player into a false sense of security.
Alright, just... You don't have to do this. I'm gonna find you.
Additionally, with the inclusion of canine units, you're faced with pressure to keep moving, effectively ending the player's strategy of waiting to exploit an enemy's patrol patterns. Like the last game, we are shown what's left of modern-day society, and the protagonist's reaction to it.
That sucks.
Ellie and Abby are both expressive, and are quick to react to what's going on around them. Anyway, on to my thoughts on the story. But first, let's quickly address the controversy surrounding the game.
Getting mad at developers for killing off Joel is like... Well, it's like... Just one second. Getting mad at developers for killing off Joel is like getting mad at a dog for being naughty.
If you played this game, then you're probably familiar with zombie-themed shows, movies, or games, and you know that characters you like will likely meet an untimely death. And if you think about how many people Joel crossed throughout his lifetime, then you know that he would eventually suffer the consequences of his actions.
Our luck had to run out sooner or later.
For those upset for having to play as Abby, I get it. Metal Gear Solid 2 did something similar by replacing Snake with Raiden for most of the game. This technique is deemed as the bait and switch, where the developer shakes things up to subvert expectations and encourages the audience to see a different point of view. All that aside, I found the themes of the story to be especially intriguing. The themes of the story that I saw were the following. Morality is relative. Who is good depends on perspective. Revenge is pointless. In this game, it served as a temporary anesthetic and didn't provide the cathartic release the protagonists were hoping for, or resolve the grief they felt. Redemption requires self-sacrifice, self-acceptance, and doing what's right thereon. Lastly, violence always begets more violence. Overall, I like the story. I think it gave the audience a unique perspective. For once, we see the aftermath after Joel crosses paths with anyone who threatens what he cares about. We also see people's cult-like behavior. Let's talk characters. When the player is first reintroduced to Ellie, she appears dispirited and a bit self-conscious. It's clear that she had high hopes in assisting with the development of the vaccine, and feels betrayed by Joel, due to being robbed of the choice to sacrifice herself, and being lied to. Although now she has a new love interest, friends, and family, losing Joel distorts her reality. She begins a rage-fueled revenge mission to kill Abby, which I believe serves as a distraction from addressing her real problems, like her PTSD and dealing with the pain of loss. Her obsession causes her to lose her significant other and her child, symbolized by the loss of her ring and pinky finger, respectively. She also loses her ability to play the guitar, which served as a connection to Joel, which is also confirmation that attempting to exact revenge on Abby truly wasn't worth it. Abby had a similar mindset and was consumed by thoughts of revenge and became obsessed with finding Joel. She succeeds, but her life doesn't get any easier. There were still unresolved issues between her and Owen, as well as newly formed issues between her and Mel. She doesn't get to resolve those issues because she loses everyone, and by the end of the game, she comes to realize that being a wolf effectively desensitized her to the violence she engaged in to push Isaac's agenda. But her connection to Lev helps her reform her sense of empathy and inspires her to form a new purpose in life, and that is to search for the Fireflies. Ellie's ending is a bit different, and can be interpreted in different ways. She spares Abby after defeating her, possibly because she saw the cycle of violence and wanted to end it. Maybe she realized that no amount of damage she caused would bring Joel back, and that killing her would only plunge her deeper into moral depravity. Or maybe she wanted to be the one to determine whether Abby got to live or not. Love or hate this game, its attention to detail and its use of empathy was remarkable. Overall, I thought the story was exceptional, and the gameplay was praiseworthy. I can't think of any recent game like this, and because of that, this game receives 4.8 state coins and Savage Starlight cards out of 5 in the action, adventure, survival, horror genre. Thanks for watching another one of my reviews. If you like this type of content and want to see more, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, as if it was a button that would erase your memory of The Last of Us.